Good morning, everyone. Sorry for my slight delay there. I'm just, getting things organized and trying to keep you guys. No Julie. Julie's on vacation this week, so it's just me. And of course, I got to mute the stream. Hello, Angela. Hello, Sabrina. Thank you guys for joining in. Hello, Prudence. We're happy to be here. I'm going to see if I can't set the live stream up so that I can comment with you guys and, keep up on all of that. As always, if I miss your comment or you have a question that's important and I don't get to it during the live stream, I will go back and try to catch up and answer any questions and do all of that. Let's see. Hello, Jane. I'm really happy for you guys to be popping in. And if you were watching, you saw, I'll go ahead and switch my camera again. Well, no, wait, I'll hang them. Here, look at this. This is what we're demoing today. These were one of the designs we did. It is a very dark morning here. We're having one of our kind of gray fall mornings, so my light is a little funky. I had to do some adjusting today. But these are the Galaxy earrings that we're going to demo. We love these because they just combined such wonderful kind of crystal sparkle with the leather, and I think they made a stunning pair of earrings. And obviously, the focus, if you guys have been paying attention to our Celestial collection, the focus is our oval crystal. These ones are the Celestial Brilliance pendants. And that's what we're calling them when they're pre-glued. We're selling them pre-glued with 14 by 10 millimeter European crystal. It's what you would know as a fancy stone, and it's clear, and we're selling them like that. And then we're also selling these oval bezels empty, and that is because here's where I really do need to switch my camera so you guys can see some of the other things you can use with these oval scroll bezels. In addition to the 14 by 10 millimeter crystal stones, you can also use gemstone cabochons. And I meant to get some of those out before we went live here so you guys could see. And if you watched our collection video, which we did a Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago when we launched the collection, we did show some of these gemstone 14 by 10 millimeter calibrated oval cabochons, gemstone cabochons, and there's a lot of really beautiful options out there. We happen to have some labradorite and this amethyst in the house, so we love them. We love the potential. And I think what I'm going to do today is use the amethyst cabochon. And I will demonstrate how we're going to glue that in. There are so many pretty options, but since we already had the crystal ones here with some check glass beads to go along with it, I really wanted to use the gemstone cabochons instead, and just show you that it's just as easy to glue one of those in there. Karen is in Maryland. She says they're expecting rainstorms. We would love it if our grayness was, indicating a rainstorm, but it's not, Karen. It's just fog. So, it'll probably brighten up later in the day. Hello, Michelle. Hello, Susie. Thank you. Thanks to all of you for joining me this morning. So what I'm going to do is use one of the 14 by 10 millimeter cabochons. I'm going to set these lovely crystal ones aside. And I'm going to use some E6000. I did already pre-glue one, so that we could use it in the demo without, I wanted it to be glued, dried before we attempted to use it during the demo. So this one is pre-glued, but I'm going to use some E6000. This is their jewelry and bead formula. It's a well-used tube. As you can see, I have a big old pair of pliers that I keep in my tool drawer just for trying to get lids off of old glue tubes. So it's very handy. So I've got my E6000. Now you could also use a 2-part epoxy. You do want something that really is going to give a good hold, and E6000 is pretty reliable for that. So that's what I'm going with. I've just got a toothpick. And I do have, you should always use adhesive with ventilation. So I've got a fan, my window's open and my fan is running over there. Hopefully it's quiet enough where you guys can't really hear it. And this oval scroll bezel has like a little lip on the inside, and that's where our the cabochon is going to sit down on that lip. So I'm just putting a little bit of glue on that edge. I don't want to put so much on that it's going to ooze up around the sides when I put that cabochon in there. So I'm just trying to use a little bit around the edge. I think I mentioned out loud that you could also use 2-part epoxy or, your favorite good glue. I think I'm going to take this cotton swab and just kind of, I see that there's quite a bit kind of up around the edge. So I just want to kind of wipe a little bit of that off. And then I'm going to take the cabochon and set it down in there. Now, I'm not a gemstone expert, stones and shapes and whatnot, but I understand that what you want to look for is calibrated cabochons. So I'm thinking that maybe that's a little bit more of a reliable, if they say they're calibrated, maybe the measurement's a little more reliable. So Kirsten, our product development manager, who many of you are familiar with, she is a jeweler, a bench jeweler, and so she was pretty adamant about that. Go for the calibrated gemstone cabochons. So I set that down in there. I want it to make sure it's well seated. Oops, and it's flopping around. It's not seated in there yet. I want to make sure it's seated against that lip. And when I pre-glued the other one, it went smooth as butter. So obviously I glued the easier one first. This one is a little bit fussier to get it seated in there. You will get a little bit of measurement variation in gemstones and other materials. So you gotta work with it. But what I like about E6000, that's better. I just flipped it around and it fits a little bit better in there. What I like about E6000 is it does have some body. So, it's going to fill in gaps. And then you can see that it's, because this is an opened back bezel, most of our bezels, we've traditionally done them with closed backs. And that was because typically ours are made for fitting crystal stones, which have a foil back. And we would want to keep that foil back protected. So, for example, our Rivoli stones and our Rivoli frames and our chaton frames, they all have a closed back to protect that. But when Kirsten designed these, pick up an empty one for you, we wanted them to have the open back because then some light will come through. And we thought that would be really good with both the gemstone and the crystal. Prudence is asking, how do you know what size bezel to get for stones and crystals? For example, our bezels, if it says 12 millimeter Rivoli frame, then it's going to fit your 12 millimeter Rivoli stones. So ours are named appropriately. If it fits a 14 millimeter or 12 millimeter stone, that's in the name of the bezel itself. So if you're searching for TierraCast products, just include include that measurement, whatever your stones are or your crystals, include that measurement in your search. And you should come up with the right size, matching sizes for both your stone and your bezel. So which one did I just glue? This one or this one? This one, I think. So afterward, you can see that there's a little bit of glue kind of showing around the edges, but you can kind of use a cute, what is this? Toothpick. You can use a toothpick to kind of clean that up, or just wait till it's completely dry and go in and kind of pick out the, E6000 is kind of like rubber cement. Once it's kind of dry, you can kind of pick off the bits that you don't want to be there. So you can go in and clean that a little bit after. I have not tried it. In theory, I would imagine you could also go in here with acetone, because I've done that to clean up excess E6000 on the outside of things before. But you would want to be careful. You wouldn't want to use so much acetone that it would like dissolve your hold. So make sure that you're careful with that if you decide to go in and clean that up with acetone. Andrea Bieber is here. She says she loves these earrings so much. These ones are just fun. We really enjoyed creating these. And when we're all done, I'm going to show you guys some other variations I made while I was working on this design. All right, so with any glue, as you guys know, I hope, you really, once you glue something, you should just walk away and let it sit. You should do it a few hours or even the day before you're going to make your jewelry so that it really has time to cure. And that way you don't, risk the hold, the stone falling out while you're working on it with your design. So I glued this one earlier today, didn't have quite, and you notice I'm seeing a little bit of glue that oozed out on the outside, and I'm just taking my toothpick and kind of scraping that away after it's kind of dry. That's perfectly okay to do. It's hard to be a perfectly neat and tidy gluer all the time, right? There we go. Just pull that kind of dried stuff off of there. All right, so what else do we need for these earrings? The original design is crystal and glass beads. So with this one, just for the fun of it, I really wanted to go with just gemstones. So I need my bezel that's got my stone in it. I need, I hope I don't lose you guys. My system is making little noises like my camera is going to fail, but I hope that doesn't happen. I need 6 large hole spacers. Now, these are what we call our large hole spacers. They have a 2 millimeter hole, and they are made for working with cords, leather cords, any other cord you have. This is about a 2 millimeter hole. They're made just for larger stringing materials. So you need 6 of those. We have a few different types. I have a link here. I can throw into the comments if you guys want to look at those. Oops, that's not the right one. If you guys want to get on our website and look at the different large hole spacers that we have, this would be the link to follow. So we have our 6 large hole spacers. This is the 5 millimeter nugget. I have my oval stone and my, it's pre-glued into my bezel. The original design, I used 4 head pins for these beads, but since I've got these little gemstones in their lid, there's a little bit different situations going on. I'm going to be using our 24 gauge head pins for these little tiny amethyst. Oh, my head pin is bent. That's no good. These little tiny amethyst gemstone kind of teardrop shapes. Trying to get that kink out of my head pin so it will slide down on there. These are 24 gauge, so they're a little bit, when in doubt, get another head pin. So they are quite a fine quite a fine gauge. Usually works well, you know, because sometimes gemstone beads can have such tiny little holes. So our 24 gauge head pins, somebody's telling me that you guys aren't seeing anything I'm doing. That's, is my hands are too low, maybe. I thought for a second that the camera was dying. I'll try to move my hands up so we can see a little better. All right, so I've strung on my little gemstones. I'm just going to make a wrapped loop. Our 24 gauge head pins, because they are a little bit of a finer gauge, it is better to do a wrapped loop instead of a simple loop. And I also am being cognizant of how thick my cord is. So I want my loop to be a little bit roomy. So I'm working kind of halfway up my plier jaws so that it's a nice roomy loop. I'm also not going to close that quite yet because I'm going to be stringing it onto here later. And I just don't want to mess myself up by, oh, I guess it's okay. And my brain, I'm going, okay, now wait, how did I do these? I'm going to be stringing this on. Before I secure it with the infinity loop. So I don't have to worry about, it's going to string on there and I don't have to worry about attaching it after the loop in the leather is done. So second guessing myself, going to go ahead and close that. I've got a fairly nice roomy loop. It's not a very pretty loop for some reason. It's a little bit misshapen, but I'm just going to see if I can fix that. All right, so one down, second one. And a little wrapped loop. We do have a blog on our website that has a staple. Jewelry making, see if I can pull you up a link, guys. Jewelry making basics. The blog covers little how-to things. So I'm going to throw a link in here because that might be fun for you guys to look at. There's just different entries like how to make a wrapped loop, how to make a simple loop. That can be helpful, especially if you're a beginning jeweler, which probably most of you aren't. But so what I'm doing now is I've got these other gemstones that I chose to go with this purple amethyst. I liked the idea of using a complementary color scheme. So, which means, you know, you got your color wheel and purple's on one side and yellow is directly opposite. So I liked the idea of throwing in some yellow. So these are some pretty citrine drops and they're top drilled. So I could use something I didn't mention is that our 24 gauge head pins are sterling silver. I could use my sterling silver head pin, but instead I'm going to use some half-hard German style 22 gauge wire. Actually, I'm just going to second guess myself again, you guys. This is like designing on the fly, right? I changed my mind all of a sudden because what I like about German style half hard wire is that it's a stiffer wire than a craft wire. So I could use this instead of a head pin, and I could do simple loops instead of wrapped loops. So it's nice. If I'm just using a craft wire, which I've got here, a roll of 24 gauge craft wire, that's pretty soft stuff. So I would want to secure that with a wrapped loop. So on the fly there, I had planned to use the 24 gauge, the 22 gauge German style wire. But because I all of a sudden decided I want my gauge to match, because I use the head pins here, I'm going to use the 24 gauge craft wire instead, and I'll just do a wrapped loop instead of a simple loop like I did. That way it's keeping everything matching. So what I did was I just cut a piece that was about 3 inches long, maybe a little longer, and I threaded that through my the hole of my top drilled gemstone. Hello, Stacy. She says she's a newbie. I don't know if that means she's just new to our live streams or if she's new to jewelry making. Whichever the case is, Stacy, we're glad you're here. So I've just kind of crisscrossed those wires up at the top. And I'm going to, oops, I bent that the wrong way. I'm going to take one of these ends and start a wrapped loop. And again, I don't want my loop too small because it's got to fit over that cord. And I'm going to grab that, kind of both of those. Got to wrap the first one around that wire that I made the loop in. This is called a wrapped bail. You know, people have different ways of making this. So I just wrapped that tail around the end that I made the loop in, and don't worry, I'll demo this again because we have two of them. And then the end that I made the loop with, I'm coming in and just now I'll do a more substantial wrap. So it's covering up that other tail and it's securing everything together. It's a little sloppy up there at the top. Let me just see if I can tidy it up. You know, we've had this conversation before. You have your messy wrap fans and you have your people who only like their wraps to be very tidy. I'm kind of in between. It depends on the design. Apparently with this one, we're going with the messy wrap. And now what I'm doing is crimping pliers have that round notch at the front. You guys are probably all familiar with crimping pliers. It's how you secure a crimp bead to crimp wire, and you use the C loops first, and then you might come in with the front one and kind of curve the crimp tube around to kind of finish it. In this case, I'm using that little front loop just to tidy up this wrap. That's just one of my own. I've seen other people do it too. It's just one of my own little tricks that I like to do. And then I just want to tighten this. You also, when you're doing something like this, you want to be very gentle with your gemstone because they can crack. So you want to be careful working around the hole of the gemstone. So now I'm cutting myself a second piece of that 24 gauge wire. Threading that through the top. Folding them over. I'm going to take the short piece. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it now. I didn't until after I'd done the loop in the last one, but this is just a cleaner way to do it. Trim that off. And then I can make my wrapped loop. Okay. All right. So I've got all my little components ready. I have some 2mm cord. I actually think that this is a faux leather cord. I'm not sure, it was just in my stash, but it doesn't feel like leather. It feels like it's one of those vegan leather cords, which is just fine with me. I don't mind that at all. I need a piece that's 8 inches long to work with our infinity loop. I did like that I chose this cord because I liked the slightly taupey kind of color with the with the purple. So I've got an 8-inch piece of cord, and now I'm going to start stringing on all of my little parts. So actually, I'm going to start with starting with one of the 2mm spacers, 2mm hole spacers. I'm going to go to the other side. And then one of the small gemstone drops, second spacer. Something you probably also are aware of is that cords can have quite variation in thickness. So if you say you got a 2mm cord of some kind, and then another 2mm cord of some kind, they could have, you know, some size variation. It just really, that's how it is with cords. So this one feels like kind of a thick 2mm. Something else I need that I forgot to get out in advance and take care of is a jump ring for attaching to the crystal drop. So I've got one of our largest jump ring. Our largest round jump ring is kind of an 8mm inside ID or inside dimension, which is known as the ID. It's I think it's an 18 gauge wire. So I'm attaching that to the top of my bezel, stringing that on. And then I can string all of the other beads and things in the reverse order of how I did the first one. Thank you, Sabrina, commenting that the design is beautiful, or maybe the beads are beautiful. I don't know, but she likes it. All right, is everything on there as it should be? I've got my little gemstone, I've got my spacers, I've got my oval bezel that really I want in between these two beads, but it's a large jump ring, so it's gonna hop around, but we can fix that after. But I have everything on there. So the way now, let's get this stuff out of the way, visual clutter. If you guys went at all to the project page, I did include a couple of little diagrams of the of how to tie this knot. I found this knot, I had seen designs with this, and the best demonstration I found was on Jewelry Tutorial HQ. I have a link I can post for you guys. And she does jewelry making videos. And I found this one on YouTube. And it is, oops, hold on here. There we go. It is called, what did she call this? She calls it an leather infinity loop. So that's what you will want to look for. I did just post a link to that website, so you can find, if you want to, you can look up a demo for this technique. So I have all my things in there. I'm going to keep one side of the leather a little bit longer, and the shorter side of the leather I'm going to fold over. This is going to end up being the upper loop right here. And I did include a couple of little diagrams in the downloadable project sheet that you can find on our website. There's a link to that in the description, in the information up at the top, where we described what this post in this video is about. So now I'm crossing these. I've got the shorter one is folded into my little loop. I want enough of that length where I'll be able to pull on the knot and tighten it later, but it doesn't need to be too long. And then eventually we will trim off the tails. I've got a longer end here, and I'm just going to wrap that around, making a loop, and then I'm going to thread. I'm making an overhand knot. I've got this loop here, and I'm tying this other cord in an overhand knot around that loop. And this is also, at this point, is where I kind of want to make sure that my length is as I want it, because I could make these, I could pull this all up and bring this tail down and make this a little bit shorter, or I could pull this tail back out and pull this down and make it longer. So that is where you want to kind of adjust the length as you want it. So then I've got my tail here that I'm going to pull on gently at first to tighten it. This is the other side of that knot, so I can pull on that too, but I don't want to pull on it so hard that I'm going to, you know, mess up the cord there. And then I'm going to take my chain nose pliers and I'm going to really pull on it as much as I can, because this knot here is what holds everything together. You want it tight enough where this isn't going to slide around. Hello, Maria, and hello, Rosemary. So that's it. When I'm satisfied, when I have pulled on this and I'm satisfied that it's as tight as I can get it, and does this feel secure? It feels pretty secure. I'm pulling on this, it will still move, but I am going to be reinforcing this with some glue. That is very important with this knot because you don't want this all coming loose at any time. So I've got some Loctite gel. I actually would prefer the liquid, but I don't have any available right now. So I'm just going to start putting little drops of glue in all the little areas of that knot where it crisscrosses or the tails are coming out. I just want to make sure I'm covering all the bases. So a little here, a little there, all the little crevices. And if it gets kind of gunky at all, you can just take a toothpick or cotton swab, kind of wipe off your excess. Always keep a tissue so that handy when you're working with glue so that you can clean up excess stuff. And then that's it. In theory, now I would set this down and not fuss with it until it had a chance to dry, but I'm going to go ahead and keep working with it since we're doing this as a demo. But once this is all dry, this knot should be perfectly secure. And you won't have to worry about it falling apart. So the last step for this is just adding whatever ear wire you would want to add. I always have a little stash right here at this particular work table. And it is, it's just our plain regular loop ear wires. But the loop is large enough where it should fit, well, it in theory will fit right over your whatever cord you're working with. And that's it. So this design was certainly more complex because we had all the little wire working bits to do because I wanted to use the gemstones. You know, with check glass, you got consistent hole sizes. Typically, they're nice roomy hole sizes. You can fit them on a head pin. With gemstones, I always find that there's going to be some variation. I might have to use 24 gauge wire. I might find, I might end up with little gemstone beads that need 26 gauge wire. And in that case, I'm always going to do a wrapped loop instead of a simple loop. So, but it's a fun design. I really loved running into that demo video and being able to master this infinity loop knot. So it's fun. And I think I promised you guys I had some variations when we were working out this design. We played with some other ideas. Let me put the cap back on my glue before I forget to do that. That's always bad to leave the cap off your glue, right? Okay, so don't get excited about the brass ox finish of this oval bezel. We did not release this part in the brass finish, I am sorry to say, because it is pretty cool. But we ended up only releasing it in the silver and the gold and the copper. So, but while I was playing with the idea, and we had some plated samples in that finish, and I was tossing around this idea of, I've got my ear wire in a twist. What's going on here? Get it untangled. I did play, Julie had said she wanted to see a design that had some leather with the big oval bezel. So I played with a couple of different things. I did a kind of an infinity loop that I secured with one of our 6x2mm barrel beads. And that was kind of fun. I don't think I ever finished it. I was gonna do that, but this was not one of the ones we moved forward with, so I didn't finish it. But I thought that this was very fun with the 6x2 barrel bead. Interesting way to secure that. So that one had potential. This one I used some, is this a 10mm strap? It doesn't feel like it's quite 10. No, it's like, I think it might be billed as a 5mm strap, but it's even a little bit wider than that. But it's a deer tan or not sure if it's a deer tan or another kind of lace. Probably got it from Leather Cord USA. It's a beautiful, beautiful texture. And what I did with that is I just cut a piece and I overlapped them and made a loop and then put an eyelet at the top so I could hang the ear wire. So that was very fun. Sabrina's asking if we sell our products at local retail shops. That is where we sell our products. We're a hard time. If you're a retail shopper and not a wholesale jewelry maker where you have wholesale accounts to purchase with, we do not sell to retail customers. We only sell to wholesale customers. So where retail shoppers get our customers is those people who buy from us. I don't know why this one's so out of whack. All of the embellishments are one side. Sorry, Sabrina, got distracted. You want to shop at your retail sources, and you should be able to just, when you're looking for a particular TierraCast part, if you have a local bead store, if you're lucky enough to have a local bead store, you can always check with them. And if TierraCast isn't something they carry, you can ask them if they'll bring something in. They may or may not do that, but you can certainly ask them. If you're shopping online, you can just do a web search for any of our parts, and you should come up with multiple online sources. So for example, if I was looking for this Celestial Brilliance pendant with the pre-glued crystal, I would Google TierraCast Celestial Brilliance pendant, and you should get plenty of retail sources for that. I didn't finish my explanation of this one. Again, I used that 5mm leather strap, and this time I just looped it and put the eyelet in it, and I used one of our Jardine rings to attach all of the stuff down at the bottom. So those were just some other ideas when I was working with the more boho, going for a more of a boho type of design. This one was the winner. It's the one everybody liked the most and seemed the most approachable. We love showing our eyelets, but not everybody has leather setting tools, so or the desire to work with those types of components. So this is the one that won, and we love it. And so far, it looks like you guys do too. So I'm going to switch my camera. And once again, say thank you to you guys for popping in and watching the demo. And I hope it was informative and inspiring as always. And I don't think I'm going to do a celestial demo next week. Halloween is coming up, and I have a particular technique in mind that can be real fun for making real thematic type of components. Involves resin. I'll probably use UV resin as opposed to as opposed to a two-part epoxy resin. You could do both with this technique. But I'm excited about that for Halloween-y type of designs. So I think that that's what I'm going to do next week. So that'll be something to look forward to. It's, you know, getting messy and working with some resin and some imagery, and that should be really fun. So I will post the details of that on Saturday. Let's see. I think that's it. Thanks, you guys. And I hope everybody has a really wonderful day and make a lot of stuff. And we'll see you next week. Bye.